Mortal Engines!
Yeah, I didn't know what else to do for the intro, so that's what you get. What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about the brand new Peter Jackson's not directing this, but it is from the creators of Lord of the Rings, and they marketed that very heavily in the trailers. I wasn't super excited for this movie, but I thought the plot and the concept had potential. If you guys don't know how my reviews work, I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. A lot of things coming at you this weekend. I'm talking 2 to 3 videos per day, starting tomorrow with a spoiler review of Into the Spider-Verse. And then tomorrow evening, I'm going and watching one of my most anticipated movies of the last few months, The Favorite, and then The Mule, and then Aquaman on Saturday. So many things to talk about, but right now, we gotta stick with Mortal Engines. Let's get into the good. So in a post-apocalyptic world where cities ride on wheels and consume each other to survive, 2 people meet in London and try to stop a conspiracy. Like I said, Peter Jackson did not direct this. They are marketing this heavily towards the Lord of the Rings crowd, and then I saw another trailer and they're marketing it towards the Mad Max crowd, and then every single style of marketing I've seen has been different, so I don't really know if they necessarily understand their audience, but I went into this movie with an open mind, and while I didn't love it, I'll go ahead and tell you that there are some things to like in here, and we start with the epic shots. And some of the CGI was actually really good, especially the first 10 minutes of the movie. The first 10 minutes actually got me hooked. It was epic. The sound design was fantastic, especially in the theater that I was watching it in. The seats were rumbling. The entire theater was shaking. The CGI in those first few scenes was really, really good, and I was actually getting sucked into the story. I'm like, this could be a super fun surprise of an action movie. It felt like a grand scale Mad Max. It had Matrix vibes. It could have been something like the Matthew Vaughn movie Stardust that came out a little while ago. I saw elements of so many different things I've seen before, and that's really a detriment to the film because it feels really familiar, but in that first 15 minutes, I'm like, yeah, this could end up being really good. Now, that definitely was the best part of the movie, and establishing this world that they never really dove any deeper in was also something that I really liked. And while the movie continued to decline after that, I was still on board in the beginning, and when a movie gets you sucked in, that's always something that you can say that's a positive. Now, another thing that I really loved, I said the sound design, the score, the soundtrack. I believe it was Junkie XL that did this score. It's really good. Throughout the entire movie, I'm sitting there, I'm getting Dark Knight vibes, I'm getting vibes from so many different kinds of films, and I'm sitting there really eating up. There are very good elements of this movie, elements that I did not anticipate going in, because honestly, I thought I would walk out hating this film. I didn't hate it. There are things to like when you're talking about the technical elements and establishing this world. It's a world that I wanted to dive deeper into. I wanted to see more of, well, how did this come about? Why are these characters so important? What's the deal with all of the nations here? I wanted to explore that because the concept, like I said, behind Mortal Engines, it's really cool, but the execution is just something that I never got into. And when we're talking problems, I'm just going to basically talk about how every element and aspect of this film is familiar. You pluck out an action scene or a one-liner or a character and it's like, oh, I've seen that before and I've seen this before. But the problem is, I've seen it done better. Every element in here just felt like a copy of something better, whether you're talking about those specific one-liners. And I actually wrote some down because they were so funny to me. There's so many things. And yes, I had a notepad in the theater. Do not judge me.
We're hunting something. Or someone.
Not if you get to her first.
We take the fight to them.
I just need more time. I vowed never to, fill in the blank, again. I made them swear an oath.
It needs more power. Do we understand what we're dealing with here?
No joke, guys. It was one-liner after one-liner, and the problem is it felt like it was taking itself way too seriously, and because of that, the film went from really entertaining in that first portion to dull and boring and just kind of grim, and I'm sitting there watching like they have so many opportunities here to take this in a different direction and do something right and give us a villain played by Hugo Weaving that isn't bland. And that's what this was. It was a bland story with bland characters. At times, the conversations felt like they belonged on like The Flash on the CW, and I love The Flash, but that has a specific tone that it sticks to, right? This movie was really epic at times, really grand at other times, but sometimes the dialogue was just so cheesy and the people saying them were so serious. I'm like, I don't think you understand the movie that you're in right now. This scene does not call for that, so why are you doing it? And I don't think the acting was bad. I just think they were miscast. They were called to do something that they did not do. They did something different entirely, and the director's just like, yeah, you can read it like that. We're cool. When's lunch? That's the thing that gets me. It's like the directing is so strong at times when you're talking about those grand epic shots with these giant vehicles chasing down these other vehicles with really good CGI at that point on these landscapes that are just so beautiful. Yes, there's a lot of CGI in those scenes. Other times, it doesn't work. Sometimes, it does work. So the directing is great in that aspect, but when you're talking about the plot and the story and the characters and just the familiarity with everything, things that we have seen before, heard before, a third act where you can predict every little element. I guarantee you guys, when you get into the third act, you can tell me exactly what's going to happen and you will hit the nail on the head. If you have ever seen a blockbuster before, Mortal Engines just did not do anything different. I wanted to go in and be super surprised, and while I didn't hate my time in the theater, if you turn your brain off and you go in kind of like a Transformers movie, just not on that level of bad, I think you could get something out of this. If you get drug into the theater, you could be like, okay, you know what, I'll sit here and I'll take the beating. I'm making it sound worse than it actually is. It's just Mortal Engines doesn't do anything that I haven't seen before, and that is why I'm going to give the movie a 48%. I think this one is skippable. I saw in the trailers, I tweeted about it a few weeks ago. I am not excited for this movie. You can throw it in the Robin Hood category, and while I don't think it's on that level of bad, I haven't seen Robin Hood, but I've heard nothing but bad things. I do think Mortal Engines is not worth watching in a theater. Maybe catch it on TV, but turn your stereo up because the sound design was really good. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Into the Spider-Verse spoiler review, Aquaman, we're doing a Transformers movie countdown. So many things to talk about in the next few weeks, and it's going to start getting really busy because I have my end of the year lists on the way. We're talking good, bad, disappointing surprises, all of those things. Be on the lookout, hit that notification bell. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll catch you later.